We all live like we have forever, don't we? We make plans, we chase goals, and we just assume that tomorrow is a given, that it's just waiting for us. But what happens when tomorrow isn't promised? What if everything you thought you knew about time, about your future, was suddenly That was the profound and devastating question Dr. Paul Kalanithi, a brilliant neurosurgeon on the cusp of a remarkable career, had to face when his entire world changed in a single, breathless moment. At just 36 years old, after a decade of grueling training, after mastering the intricate pathways of the human brain and learning how to save lives, after walking countless families through the hazy, terrifying borderlands between life and death, he was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal lung cancer. Think about that for a second. He had dedicated his entire adult life to understanding the mechanisms of mortality, learning how to delay death, how to outsmart it. And now, in a cruel twist of fate, he had to learn how to live with it, face to face. The doctor had become the patient. When Paul was a doctor, death was almost an intellectual puzzle. It was a foe to be fought, a biological process to be understood and delayed, an opponent and a high-stakes clinical game. He was the one holding the map, guiding others through the dark. But when he became the patient, when he was the one lying on the hospital bed looking up at the scans, death transformed into something entirely different. It wasn't just a clinical endpoint anymore. It became a mirror, a brutally honest one, reflecting back at him everything that truly mattered, everything that was real, and everything that was worth holding on to in the time he had left. In the face of his own mortality, the central question of his life shifted. He didn't ask his doctors, "How much time do I have left?" Instead, he asked himself a far more powerful question. How do I make this time mean something? How do I fill these remaining days, weeks, months with purpose? And in that question, he discovered something truly profound, a truth that many of us spend our whole lives searching for. He realized that it's not the length of a life that ultimately gives it value. It's the depth with which we live it. He wrote in his memoir, "Even if I'm dying, until I actually die, I am still living." That single sentence is the heartbeat of his entire story. It became his mantra. Every breath he took became precious, a conscious act. Every moment with his beloved wife, Lucy, every page he managed to write, every single sunrise he witnessed, every quiet morning cup of coffee, all of it carried a new kind of weight, a new clarity. It was a clarity that most of us, caught up in the rush of our daily lives, spend years chasing, but rarely ever find. He found it on the precipice of death. Now, Paul's journey wasn't about giving up or surrendering to despair. Far from it. It was about redefining what victory meant. He didn't stop. He kept working as a neurosurgeon for as long as he physically could. He kept writing, pouring his soul onto the page. And in one of the most courageous acts of love, he and Lucy decided to have a child, even knowing that he might never see his daughter grow up. Why? Because for Paul, love wasn't something that death could ever erase or diminish. In fact, love was the very thing that made life, even a tragically short life, feel infinite. And that's the beautiful, heart-wrenching paradox he uncovered. Knowing that we're going to die isn't a reason to despair. It's the ultimate reason to live fully, to live intentionally, and to live truthfully. Now, in this very moment, it's the ultimate wake-up call. Paul spent his final months racing against time, not to find a cure, but to finish his book, the book that would become When Breath Becomes Air. It wasn't written as a goodbye letter or a final lament. He intended it as a conversation, a bridge between the living and the dying, a profound reminder that purpose doesn't vanish just because the future does. His words offer a stark and beautiful perspective. He wrote, "The fact of death is unsettling, yet there is no other way to live." He came to understand that facing our own mortality is what gives life its urgency and its meaning. He left behind a message that is both heartbreaking and incredibly illuminating. You can't control how long you live. None of us can. But you can decide what kind of person you'll be while you are alive. You can decide what your life will stand for. So, ultimately, When Breath Becomes Air is not really a book about dying. It's a powerful, urgent book about living with precision, with passion, and with presence. Paul Kalanithi's story is a mirror held up to all of us. He reminds us of a simple, unavoidable truth. We are all terminal. The clock is ticking for each and every one of us, right now. So the real question isn't how long we have. The real question is, how deeply will we live the time we've been given? Every breath is a gift. Every day is borrowed time. And maybe, just maybe, the real art of living lies in treating it that way, not as a terrifying countdown to the end, but as a sacred calling to be present. So I invite you to take a moment right now. Just stop and breathe in. Feel that. You're alive. And that means you still have time. Time to love. Time to forgive. Time to create. Time to begin again. Because the ultimate meaning of life isn't found in how it ends, but in how courageously and how fully it's lived. If this story moved you or made you think, please give this video a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who might need this gentle reminder today. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that explore what it truly means to be alive. Until next time, live intentionally. Every single breath counts.